My name is Chris Nelson, and I will kind of kick us off and get us going here. And we are going to be talking today about our new home tool. And so some of you guys may have had the opportunity already to use this tool. Some of you guys may not. But today we're going to familiarize everyone with what it is and how it works and go through a few more of those details of it. So as we get going, I appreciate Martina asking about lunch because that's one of those things where when you go to a restaurant, you have certain expectations, and when you go to coffee shops, you have certain expectations, and so whenever I go into any of these places, you often look at the menu, and that helps gives you inspiration. It helps you figure out what you want to order, and just really gives you a better idea of hey, where do I want to go? Do I want a salad? Do I want soup? Do I want a hot coffee? Do I want a cold coffee? And so as I was thinking about today's presentation, and this was maybe 2.5 weeks ago, my wife and I we were actually out at a restaurant. And we were flipping through the menu, and it took probably 15 minutes to determine what we wanted to eat. And then it never fails that the item that I chose was out of stock, off the menu, or they no longer do it anymore. And it's so frustrating. And so, what I want to talk about today is a little bit about your menu, because sometimes there are restaurants that are out there that have things listed all wrong, where maybe the photos don't match, maybe there's typos, maybe they just generally don't have appealing photos and it just doesn't look good. So how many of you guys have ever been to a restaurant where the menu looked something like this and it would have, typos in it, and it would have the word steak fries, but it's showing pasta and all those things, when it's really simple. If someone were paying attention, they could correct it and make it be the way it's supposed to be. Or how about this? What happens if you have something like a king size bed, but your photo of your room shows two beds? Little bit deceiving. And sometimes that can cause consumers and guests and people to have some issues when they're coming to stay at your hotel. And so as we go through today, what we're really going to talk about is your hotel and your content and how you can make sure that it is actually correct and everything is working the way that it's supposed to, and you're putting your best foot forward. Because if you lead with the wrong information, or people find the wrong information, or even worse, maybe they're looking for a hotel with a swimming pool, but it doesn't say you have a swimming pool, but you have one, you can miss out on potential guests staying at your hotel. And so what we're going to talk about today is our brand new content tool that just launched called H.O.M.E. And the reason we're doing that is because our goal for you as hoteliers is to help you deliver a trusted guest experience. And that is including what we're talking about today. We want our guests to trust that what they see online is accurate, what they see online is true, and the photos dictate exactly what your hotel is. And if we can do that well, it's going to help drive your success as a hotel. And then ultimately, to better round out our mission, we also want to make sure that we're having a caring and inclusive culture, all while respecting the environment. So H.O.M.E, let's jump into it. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. First of all, we're going to talk about what is H.O.M.E. Then we're going to go into how do I get into H.O.M.E? And then we'll talk about navigating it, some of the icons and buttons and cool features that are there. We'll talk about auditing, checking statuses, some pro tips, and then we'll end up talking a little bit about the rates that are in there. So as we go into it, in my opinion, we really need to start with the why. And just like the menu that we talked about for the restaurant, the reason the restaurant menu matters is because if it's wrong, guest orders something and it comes out to the table wrong, right? One of the places I was recently at, I ordered a fruit bowl. It was one of those acai fruit bowls, and the menu said that it had strawberries, blueberries, and bananas. Unfortunately, when I got it, I received strawberries, blackberries, and bananas, which if that's okay. I like blackberries and blueberries, but the menu said one thing and I received another, which could have caused me to have a little bit of a misconception for that restaurant. And so the same is true for your hotel. The reason it matters is because as you go through H.O.M.E, we want to make sure that you tell your guests exactly what's going on. So H.O.M.E, what does it stand for? H.O.M.E is the Hotel Onboarding and Maintenance Environment. Now, some of you guys, this entire series is tailored towards SureStay hotels, and we've activated a lot of hotels recently. And some of you guys may have went through and remember filling out an Excel document that was very, very long and took probably 2 to 3 hours to complete, where you filled out everything on that Excel document. Well, we took that And we moved that from Excel and we pivoted it over into a new online platform called H.O.M.E. So it's a little bit easier to use and a little bit more intuitive. The goal of it is to direct your access for your hotel to update everywhere. So when you make a change in this new home portal that I'm going to show you today, it's going to go out to the Best Western branded websites. It's going to go out to our partner and connected sites and to the central reservation systems. The updates that are out there, they generally go live in as little as 2 hours, and you don't have to wait for manual submissions. It automatically submits when you go through and do them. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute because some do take a little bit longer, but for the most part, just know that when you submit something from there, it's going to get started in the processing. The main reason for the why that we kind of talked about at the beginning is summed up right here. If you have accurate and complete content, it's going to create better booking confidence for all of the guests that are looking at your hotel. And ultimately, that's going to help you drive more revenue. So let's jump in. How do we log into H.O.M.E? So as I go through today's presentation, you will receive a copy of it, but I'm going to go through and show you the step-by-step directions and then a visual aid to go with it. So as we go through, whether you're a visual learner or want a step-by-step guide, the really cool thing about this presentation is you'll be able to take it back with you. And as you go through to audit your own hotel, you'll be able to follow along easily. So step one, you'll log into the member portal. I have the link included. Step two, in the top right menu where it shows your name, you're going to click Manage and then the word Home. Your screen may look a little bit different depending on what version you're in, but just know it'll be pretty similar to the one that I'm about to show you. And then there could be a problem. You may get to that and click on your name and you don't see Home. And you go, uh-oh, what do I do now? Well, I've made it easy for you. The property help desk can help you get into Home and make sure that the statuses are set accordingly. So I've provided their phone number here, 800-528-1902. So what does the screen look like? This is what you guys are all familiar with seeing. And it's pretty straightforward. You're simply going to click your name in the upper right-hand corner. It'll create the drop-down, and then under Manage, you'll see Home. Once you've clicked on Home, I'll show you what it looks like to navigate through the Property Information tab. So again, we're going to start by step-by-step directions. From the home page, you can click on Property Information in the tile that's on the middle of the page or on the left-hand menu. Then you'll click Content, and then you'll see all the categories such as parking, recreation, and more. Now, what's important to understand is that this section, as we go into it, all of them will have different answers and questions that need to be answered about your hotel. And how you answer these questions will determine how the guest perceives and knows what your hotel does and does not offer. So if someone accidentally went in and clicked that you have a parking area, but you have to pay for it, that could be a problem, especially if it's free. So it's very important that after today's call, we would encourage everyone to go audit your own home content and see what it all looks like. This is the screen that we were just talking about. It's an entire screenshot, and there are two ways, again, to access rates and availability. The left-hand menu, where it says rates and availability, or by clicking on the icon. Both of these are going to take you into the similar menu where you have the ability to choose exactly what content you want to fix. And so there's information in here, like general information on your hotel. Things like recreation, what's in your guest rooms, all of the local airport information. And so you can kind of see each of these tabs have a little detail about what is in them. It's not all inclusive, and some have more questions than others. But once you click on them, it will actually create and generate custom questions for you to answer. Now, you'll also notice in the upper right-hand corner, it has search. We're going to talk more about that little guy here in just a minute. So as we go through, and as you click through all of these different segments, whether it be parking or recreation or guest room amenities, they're going to have different icons that pop up. One of them is a blue triangle. If you see that, it means that it is not answered. It's going to look similar to what we see on the screen here. Once you answer a question, the blue triangle will go away. Sometimes you may log in and you might see instead of the blue triangle, you might actually see a yellow triangle. What this means is you've actually updated this content and we're waiting on approval. Now, the waiting on approval, you can see what it would look like here. it can take up to 3 business days to be approved and confirmed and updated. So one of the best tips and practices that I'll remind you guys about at the end of the call today is that you want to remind yourself to recheck it about 72 hours later. The other option is a red triangle. Red basically means it was rejected. And when you hover over it, it'll tell you what you need to fix. No icon means it's active. That's what you're telling everyone. So when you log into Home, for most of you, everything will mostly have no icon because it's already loaded, or it'll have a blue triangle as not answered. So any of the blue triangles you'll want to make sure you take care of. And any of the non-icon items, you'll just want to audit and make sure they're actually correct and nothing has changed. The last 2 tips here have to do with the little I info icon. And you can kind of see what that looks like down here in the bottom of the screen. But anytime you see a letter I in the circle, it lets you know that there's more details about tips and tricks and things that you can actually do within that field. And then lastly, at the end of each page, there's a submit button to allow you to submit for changes. Once you've done all these things, again, content isn't instantly live. It can take up to 3 business days for some of the fields. Again, some of them do go live in less than 2 hours. But again, we want to remind you to come back and check the yellow and red icons. And you can also use the Audit History tab to monitor all changes and follow up. This is a screen showing you where the Audit History tab is. Again, we're looking at that main menu on the blue side here, and at the very bottom is Audit History. From there, if you're looking for something specific that you know you edited, you can use the Form tabs to find it. You can search for the Question tab and find it, or by using the Status tab, you can look specifically for not answered questions, pending questions, or even rejected content. So the audit history is a great place to start when you're looking through and trying to determine exactly what's going on in the status of your hotel. I mentioned the search button at the very beginning, and sometimes you may have something that you're wanting to look for. And it can be found in 2 spots, both in the blue menu on the left of the screen and also in the far right of the screen. But sometimes you may find some information that's wrong on bestwestern.com. And I'll be honest with you, I would encourage you, go to your own bestwestern.com page, and I challenge you to find something wrong. Read it as if you're coming to your hotel and you know something's wrong on that page and you got to find it. Because then if you find it wrong on bestwestern.com, there's a good chance you can come in here and fix it. So let's pretend you find an error with the pool. By using the search icon and searching for the word pool, you can then find all of the different areas that the swimming pool could be listed, whether it be in accessibility, recreation, or hotel amenities. So the search icon will save you a lot of time of clicking and allow you to jump straight to what you're looking for. Again, some pro tips here. Set a reminder to check back on these about 72 hours after you submit them. That way you don't forget it, and that when something is completed, you know it's done and you know it's been updated. Complete all the fields. Even the optional ones are going to help boost that guest confidence in your hotel. So as you go through, anything that you see blank or blue, definitely take care of it. Get it updated. And if you need some help, we have a fantastic marketing activation team that will be glad to help answer any questions and help you with some of those content questions that you're struggling with, including helping write some of the descriptions. Because we want to basically make sure that you're always letting the guests know the best of the best about your hotel. We want the great photos, we want the great content, and ultimately, like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, building that consumer confidence is going to help drive more revenue to your hotel. So we're always going to want to make sure we put our best foot forward, that we're not presenting a menu like in the restaurant with the wrong items on it or with outdated photos. So as we go along, I've got a few more things that I do want to kind of touch in on that can also be found in Home. The other tab that was right next to property information was rates and availability. Now, this one is going to be particularly useful for any of your hotels that have local negotiated rates, local corporate account rates, and similar. You now have the ability to maintain, monitor, and update these straight from our Home tool. If you don't do any of these currently, or you don't have local negotiated rates, I'd still encourage you to hang in there, check this out. We're going to spend about 5 minutes talking about it, and you may figure out some ways that you can use this to help better your hotel or position your hotel better. So let's talk about the rates and availability. First of all, how do we get there? Again, step-by-step directions. From the home page, click on Rates and Availability in the tile or the left menu. Then you'll click on the Rates tab, and then you can search for the corporate account that you're looking for. Lastly, type in the name of the company you wish to review or edit. So now let me show it to you. Again, you can find it both on the left-hand side in the blue column under Rates and Availability, and then you can also find it in the middle of the screen under Rates and Availability. Once you've clicked on those, it'll open up into the next tab. And in this case, I'm just using the University of Vermont. So this is step 1. You'll notice at the top of the screen, there are 4 steps. The corporate account, details about the rate, what rooms are being used, and what rates are being used. And so in this case, step 1 is if you've already got the local negotiated account loaded, you can simply search for it. In this case, I just searched for VERM and then found University of Vermont for this hotel. From there, we verify the information is correct and click the next button. That'll take you to the Rate Detail tab. From the Rate Detail tab, it's going to let you know what it's currently loaded as, and you have the ability to make sure you're filled in for all of the necessary fields, including rate code for availability, which rate level it should go into, where does the rate come from, does it have a rate integrity, and what rate code do you use for the guarantees and cancels and confirmations. Now, for some of you, you may be saying, Chris, you're getting pretty deep on me, right? And you're going, all right, slow down. Here's what I want to encourage you. If you're doing locally negotiated rates, please reach out to your revenue manager or your HSO. If you don't know who it is, feel free to reach back out to any of your brand management team, and they'll be glad to assist you, or even better, check out your QuickSight property dashboard, and it'll lead you straight to your correct people. So let's say you've gone through, you've verified your rate detail information, you filled in all the necessary fields that you need to. You go to the next tab where you now choose the room types. From the room type section, this would allow you to choose which rooms you actually want to make sure that this account has access to. So once you've selected your room types and you click the next button, you'll fill in the season that you want to do and the days of the week that you're offering for this company. This is great because you now have the ability to easily add their seasonality, their rates, and their room types and update them from internally. Once you have those completed, you'll go to the Rates tab and simply put in your first and second person rates and submit. Now, I know we covered a pretty good bit today, and so I kind of want to work backwards again and remind you that the home content, while it may seem a little bit overwhelming and like it's a lot of information that's there, it's very simple. It is very user-friendly. In fact, we just had a hotel that opened about 2 weeks ago as a SureStay, and they completed uploading all of their information from scratch in about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and that was from full blank. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Take about an hour. Lock yourself in your office, go lock yourself in the breakfast area, spend an hour. Go through bestwestern.com and go through home and verify that you're putting your best foot forward so that we can make sure every guest receives the best information. And so as we go through now, I'm going to pause. And if there are any questions, we'd be glad to take those in from you guys. Feel free to drop them in the chat box. We will do our best to answer them. And we're also going to drop in a couple of different resources for you guys as well. Those resources are going to include a step-by-step guide for how to navigate through home. And then it's also going to include information about some of our online trainings that still exist out there. The 3 most recent ones that we've done were for BestRef, the CoStar benchmarking tool, and then today. And I want to remind you guys to stay tuned because we're getting ready to launch another one. And for me, I would really appreciate if you could help me out. On the right-hand side of the screen, there's a QR code. If you have your phone, take it out, scan it, and it's about 5 questions that really just ask about what do you want to learn more about? And what are some things that interest you? Because we want to keep providing current, relevant, and great content to our SureStay hotels. We want to make sure that you guys truly do find some success secrets. And the best way to do that is to find the content that you guys want, that you guys need, and help break it down for you. So I'll pause for just a moment and I'm going to kick it back over to Martina and see if we have any questions that have popped into the chat.
Okay. No, we only had one question, and that was just on someone's individual access, which has been responded to by Liz. I have dropped in our playlist for last year's SureStay Secrets Success webinars, and the Revenue Management Home PDF.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Martina. And my goal was to leave about 5 or 6 minutes at the end of the call in case any last minute questions popped up with this being such a brand new tool. And so we'll pause for just a moment and see if anyone else has any other questions. And if not, we'll hold tight and we'll let everybody get about 5 to 7 minutes back in their day because we want to make sure we get you the content, get it accurately, get it quickly to you, and help it be digestible without taking up too much of your time because we know just how valuable it is when you're trying to work all the hats in a hotel. We'll pause here for just another moment. And again, I appreciate all of you guys that are taking the time to scan the QR code.
While we're waiting, I would just reiterate, if you haven't had a chance to look at that playlist from previous years, I highly recommend going back and rewatching them. Just like these, they're 30 minutes or less. So well worth lots of great topics there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks, Martina. Yeah, some of those other webinars, if you guys haven't seen them, there are webinars out there on Lighthouse with the rate auditing tool that we have. There's one out there on 10 minutes to success and how to maximize just 10 minutes of the day to really drive your revenue. And so there are quite a few local negotiated rates in a little bit more detail. Okay. And so there's quite a few that are out there, and we would definitely love you guys to go check those out. All right. Well, that rounds us out. I'm sorry, Martina, did somebody pop anything else in there?
Yeah, we did. Courtney was asking, her property has 19 different room types, and I would need to add more room types. Would I be able to add them from home? Courtney, recommendation there is to reach out to your revenue manager, and they will help you creating those new room types. Anything else to add, Chris, on that one?
Yep, that's perfect. Yeah, they'll work with you to figure out what needs to be done to separate those for you. But yes, you would need to reach out to revenue management to get some assistance on making those.
And if you're unsure of who your revenue manager is, you can find that in your SureStay property dashboard and or in that H.O.M.E Central dashboard on the overview page. It will let you know who your revenue manager is, their email address, and also potentially a link to their calendar to create an appointment with them.
Perfect. Well, on behalf of myself, Liz Krieger, and Martina Coburn, both helping me out, jumping in the background with questions and any of the chats and admitting people and doing all the fantastic things that it takes to get these webinars to be successful. We do thank all of them, and we thank all of you guys for taking about 25 minutes out of your day to come and learn a little bit more about how to make your hotel successful. So thank you all very much, and stay tuned. We will be sending out a full recap on this to you guys shortly. And if you have any questions, reach back out.